I am super excited, and you'll probably never guess why. Actually, you may be able to guess why, but instead of making you guess, I'm just going to tell you. So the other day I installed the max air fan and didn't want to, burn down the batteries on the bus because it takes a lot to get this old girl up and running. And I've been thinking about what I'm going to do as far as, power for auxiliary stuff or whatever. The way the bus was designed was basically the engine be running while the great majority of the amenities and everything else, the lighting, all that stuff, the entertainment was all running. So they'd go pick up clients, they would take them out on the town, that sort of thing, and that would all run while the diesel was running. So it wasn't drawing as much off the batteries, and the alternator was always keeping the batteries charged. Because we're probably going to drive, park, need stuff while we're running, but then want to be able to charge up while we're staying at wherever the venue is, and are not necessarily going to have hookup power, all that stuff. It is going to be an interesting situation. I wanted to put solar up on the roof, but that was ridiculously expensive for the amount of power that I was thinking I was possibly going to need to last while we were out doing trips and that sort of thing. Long story short, I think I came up with a better solution. So the solution that I came up with is this. Now you're probably wondering, what the junk is that? This, my friends, is the ANKER 757. This is the ANKER 757. It is a portable battery power bank type deal, and I've used ANKER stuff for I've used ANKER stuff quite a bit for their chargers for iPhone and Macs and all that stuff. But this one is going to be the kind of the backbone for now for infrastructure that we're using for powering the max air fan, the lighting, charging up computers, possibly some sort of AC overnight when the bus isn't running, maybe even a mini fridge. So, and I know like it's not going to last, got ants all over my beard, it's not going to last for forever, but it does do exactly what I need it to do. So check this out. So first off, we have our display that shows what's going on. There's a power saving mode, so when things are charged up, it will actually turn off. But basically we have a car socket that we can turn on and off. This is what the max air fan, the lighting, and some other DC powered stuff is going to come from. So that's why I've got the fuse box. Fuse panel will plug into here. This is where we'll plug in for all of our phones, computer, my new MacBook Pro, or newer to me MacBook Pro, can all charge here. And then we have a separate AC outlet that can be turned on and off separate of the DC. So if we need to run AC or air conditioning unit or regular mini fridge, that sort of thing, that can all happen here. And then this is just kind of cool, but there's a light on here. This is pretty awesome for some ambient light stuff. So the reason why I'm so hyped about this is because I don't have to rechange what I was doing already, specifically for the max air fan, the lighting, that can all stay DC. In fact, what I wanted to do was figure out a system to where I could plug it into this when we're parked or we're not going anywhere, but while we're on the road, I could plug it into the car socket and run it off the internal batteries. The other cool thing about this is it can actually work as an uninterruptible power supply. So I could actually charge this from the car while it's powering everything else. So I can charge it up while it's running, everything stays plugged into this. So it's pretty slick. The other cool part, and why for me as a musician using it in my tour bus is pretty cool, is because when we get to a venue, there's gonna be power there when we're on stage, while we're setting up, that sort of thing. So as this thing drains down, instead of putting a ton of pressure on the alternator to charge it back up while we're driving, while we're not in the bus and don't need that stuff powered, we can pull this in, or I can take it when I get home and we're not needing stuff in the bus powered up. I can charge it, take it out of the bus, and it's not just married to the bus. The cool part is I could actually have solar up on the roof too that charges this stuff as well. So we can remove it completely from the alternator and everything that's going on with the bus and literally just have our own little bank. Essentially, this is a small scale of what I wanted to do with solar on the roof and a battery bank and everything else, was to have that all run like I said, it was just ridiculously expensive, and for the amount of traveling that we're doing right now with going out for a couple of days and coming home, it made more sense to do something that would actually allow me to power stuff, but then also be able to yank it out. Because the other cool part about this too, and I haven't tested it yet, but I want to, is I'm going to set up my big setup with this and plug it all into the AC outlets and see how much power it actually draws and how long this would actually last, because it could mean that we could do a bunch of outdoor concerts in your backyard without having to worry about having an extension cord pulled off your house from somewhere. It also mean that we could go out in the woods, or we could go on the beach, or a bunch of other places that would just be a really, really cool venue to just have music that can be a little bit amplified and have a better experience with it, or even just do some cool lighting stuff without having to worry about being plugged into somebody's house. So that I'm super excited about. I think it gives a lot more possibilities. This is something that we're definitely going to be using. I actually plugged it into our wall, or our window AC unit, and it said that it literally was going to power it for about 11 hours on about a 90% charge, which quite honestly for me, if we're stopped overnight and it's super hot outside and I need to have some sort of an AC unit in here that's not connected to the bus at all, that may be just enough for us to be able to keep the edge off for a while. Plus with the brand new insulation and everything in here, I think this is going to be really, really cool. So I'm hyped about it. You may not be as hyped, but definitely am super, super stoked and think it's going to be a really, really cool asset. Plus right now we are going through this massive heat wave. It's 90 some degrees outside. I've been worried. I've had the Max Air fan plugged in to the bus, worried about draining the battery down, and this literally just showed up today. And so now we're going to start using it, and I'm probably going to go grab a fan out of the house and plug it in, so I've got air moving all over the place. So we'll keep on working. Power that went to TVs, front and back, and then we have power. One of the top power lugs went, top power plug lug to here went to the DVD player. Still trying to figure out the rest of this, but this was all just power specifically that went to the TVs themselves. All right, so yesterday, it's some of the wiring that I took out. But there was a lot of wires that we yanked out of here. So basically the only thing that's running to the back now is a ground wire and the heater. And the only reason why the ground wire is still running back there is because it's connected to the ground wire that's on the side of the bus there too. So it didn't hurt anything to leave it. So instead of pulling it all the way out and then figuring out whether I needed it or not, I just left it in there. So real quick update on how the 757 is working. It is absolutely phenomenal. The only issues that I've had thus far have been trying to get a good combination of a standalone air conditioning unit in there that's not taxing too much the battery. Some of that is, I think I just bought a large, too big of an AC unit. And the reason why I did that was because it was doing AC, or it had the potential to do AC, a fan, dehumidify, and heat all at the same, not at the same time, but in the one unit. But in order to do that, you had to get a unit that was big enough. And so that unit I'm now using in the garage, and the bus, I'm kind of going back to the drawing board on that. But if you want to get your very own Anker 757 or any other Anker products, I would encourage you to do so. It's a fantastic company. If you want the 757 that I'm using currently, there's a link in the description below where you can get it through my Amazon wish list, as well as a bunch of the other gear that I've been using on the bus. It does help me out if you go through those links, so feel free to check them out below. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Thanks so much for watching this video. I truly do appreciate every single one of you. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.